In this video, we will be taking a look at algebraic expressions. Now, specifically, simplifying algebraic expressions, and we'll be focusing on questions that are found in grade 10 mathematics question papers. Please note, this is part 1 of 2 videos. Alright, so in your question paper, you are going to get questions that look like questions 1.1 to 1.4 here. And the question will be simplify the following. Alright, now before you get started, you need to identify what type of expressions each of these is. And when you are looking at them, take special note of 1.3 and 1.4. Before we get there, let's take a look here. How are we going to simplify this expression? Can you see that it is a multiplying of binomials? So what that means is FOIL. You're going to start from left to right. You're going to times the x in with that, the x in with the 1, the minus 3 with the 2, and the minus 3 with the 1. And then you'll take that answer and multiply it with the next binomial. Alright, so that is simple FOIL. Firsts, outers, inners, lasts. Okay, the next one we need to see is we have fractions with a variable in the denominator, which means we need to find the lowest common denominator. This could also be known as simple fractions, which means you just have to use the rule of fractions to solve. Alright, next one. The next two are important. Now, let's quickly take a look at the difference of them. Here we have 2 to the power of 2x plus 1 times 2 to the power of 2x minus 2 times 2 over 2 to the power of 4x minus 2. So what we can see there is we only have multiply and divide, which means laws of exponents. Alright, the next one here, if we're reading it from left to right, 4 to the power of n times 2 to the power of n plus 2 minus. And there's the difference between 1.3 and 1.4 is the minus over there. So this becomes a plus and minus sum with fractions, which means we need to factorize it. Alright, and we are going to take some time to dive into these 4 questions. If you would like, please pause the video here and try them yourself. And take note, I have a bonus special question coming for you at the end of this video. Right, let's start with the first one. Now, I told you we need to FOIL this, right? X times 2x, x plus 1. Alright, so equals. Now remember, when you're simplifying algebraic expressions, we need to have equals, equals, and equals here. Alright, different two equations. But anyway, x times 2x is 2x squared. Alright, x times plus 1 is plus x. Now we have minus 3 times 2x is minus 6x. Please don't forget the minus. And then minus 3 times plus 1 is minus 3. And this bracket stays where it is, 3 minus 4x. Cool. Now, if you just had to simplify the first bracket quickly, we get 2x squared. Please note it's plus x minus 6x, which becomes minus 5x minus 3. Why? Because plus 1 minus 6 is minus 5. And this is still 3 minus 4x. Alright, now we can go and FOIL this. It's a trinomial times a binomial. So you times the first one in, the second one in, and then you will still need to times your third number into both. You FOIL it. Alright, so let's go. Give some space here. Okay, our final answer here equals, or second final answer, 2x squared times 3 is going to give us 6x squared. 2x squared times minus 4x gives us minus 8x to the power of 3. Please remember laws of exponents. A to the power of m times a to the power of n equals a to the power of m plus n. We had x squared times x. 2 plus 1 gives us 3. Alright, minus 5 times 3 gives us minus 15x. Minus 5x times minus 4x. Minus times minus gives us plus 20x squared. I just want to repeat that. Minus 5x times minus 4x. Alright, now we're at the last one. Minus 3 times 3 gives us minus 9. And minus 3 times minus 4 gives us plus 12x. And now we simplify. Now you identify like terms. So we look for all the x cubes. There's only one. So we can write him down, minus 8x cubed. And a different like term now, the next one is x squared. So we have 6x squared, 20x squared. Any other x squares? No. So what is 6 plus 20? It is 26x squared. And now we look for our next term. We have x, so we have minus 15x plus 12. Minus 15 plus 12 is minus 3x. And then constants, well, we only have this minus 9 here. Alright, minus 9. I just want to reiterate, we don't consider a term like this, where we exclude the sign. The sign is included in the term. So if you look to the left of a term, that sign belongs to the term. Alright, so there's our first one. This would be 3 marks. Alright, next one. I told you we needed to look for an LCD. And looking at this, if you had to look at 3 and 2, the LCD between 3 and 2 is 6. And then here we have an x and an x. So our LCD would be 6x. Alright, now we need to focus on each term here and change the denominator to 6x. So in other words, you're going to have 3 fractions like we did in the beginning. But now we need to get each denominator to be 6x. Alright. And I just want to keep the the signs as is. Alright, now, what do we do to x to make it 6x? We multiply it with 6. But what you do at the bottom, you have to do at the top. Alright, we technically need to multiply it with 1. Or if you just want to remember it like this, you need to change the denominator to 6x. So multiply it with 6. What you do at the bottom, you have to do at the top. So that becomes 6 times that whole numerator, which is x minus 3. Don't be shy to write the step out like this, with brackets. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. What do we do to 3 to make it 6x? We times it with 2x. And what you do at the bottom, you have to do at the top. Alright, so we have 2x times 5. Last one. How do we change 2x to 6x? We times it with 3. And what you do at the bottom, you have to do at the top. So that's 3. And then, again, just put the whole numerator in brackets. 2x minus 1. And now, you simply solve. Now, I just want to remind you, if we had to have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2, that would be 1 plus 1 over 2, right? You add the numerators and the denominator stays the same. Same thing here. So I'm going to make this one big fraction. And everything is going to be over 6x. Why? Same rule as just explained. Alright, so if we had to times this in 6 times x minus 6 times 3, so that's going to be 6x minus 18. Alright, now we've got 2x times 5, so plus 10x. Just a reminder, this plus belongs to the 2x, meaning this minus belongs to that 3. So minus 3 times 2x gives us minus 6x. And minus 3 times minus 1 gives us a plus 3. Alrighty. Now, let's look for like terms and simplify. And again, our denominator is 6x. Alright, so we've got 6x over here. And then we have another minus 6x. In other words, these duties, 6 minus 6 gives us 0. They cancel each other out. Alright, and then let's not forget we also have the 10x. So if 6 minus 6 is 0 plus 10x, that is 10x. And then what's left? Minus 18 plus 3 gives us minus 15. This one I told you we need to look at laws of exponents. So firstly you need to remember to multiply and divide. Step 1 would be to recall the law a to the power of m times a to the power of n equals a to the power of m plus n. And your second law would be, remember that a to the power of m over a to the power of n equals a to the power of m minus n. Alright, why? Because when simplifying this sum, please look at our base numbers. What are our base numbers there? Instead of a, we have 2, 2, 2, and 2. So let's write that down. Let's look at the numerator. 2. Alright, now in the numerator, using law 1 over here, we have 2x plus 1 plus 2x minus 2 plus 1. Please remember, if there's no exponent, it's actually 1. And that is all over 2 to the 4x minus 2. Now we're going to do law 2 down here. So, again, base number. Now, we're going to say top minus bottom, just to quickly thin this out. 2x plus 2x gives me 4x. And we have 1 minus 2 plus 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, minus 2 is 0. So it's just 4x. Minus whatever's in the denominator, brackets. 4x minus 2. Please do not leave the brackets out here. This is the most important part, because remember, this minus has to distribute in. Okay, now remember, it is top exponent minus the bottom exponent. The whole bottom exponent needs to be subtracted to put it in brackets. Anyways, that means we have 2 to the power of 4x minus 4x plus 2. See that minus distributes in, becomes minus 4x. Minus times a minus becomes plus 2. 4 minus 4 is 0, so it becomes 2 to the power of 2, which is 4. Bam. It's as simple as that. There's your 2 steps. Remember your laws of exponents. Law 1, law 2. Okay. Last one for question 1. Alright, so 1.4. Our steps here. Now, firstly, we needed to identify this. This was plus and minus, which means somewhere we are going to factorize. Alright, but we don't factorize immediately. Step 1 is going to be get base numbers. Get base in prime factor, in prime. So what that means is 4 is not a prime factor. 4 can be broken up as follows. 4 becomes 2 to the power of 2. And what was 4's exponent? N. Times 2 to the power of n plus 2 minus, okay, 8 is not a prime number, 2 to the power of 3 is. To the power of n, all of that over, alright, and then the bottom stays the same. They're all prime factors. Your base numbers there are all primes. Okay, that is step 1. That's it, 3n. Alright, step 2 is going to be reverse law 1. Reverse law 1. Alright, remember law 1 was a to the power of m times a to the power of n equals a to the power of m plus n. But I just said reverse, meaning start right and go left. So what that looks like is this is going to become 2 to the power of 2n times, now here, this is what I mean. We need to reverse law 1 this. Alright, so this is going to become times 2 to the power of n times 2 to the power of 2. You see, we split it up. Minus 2 to the power of 3n. And the denominator again is our favorite cousin. That can stay as is. We do not want to change that. 2 to the 2 times 2 to the 0 times 2 to the 3n. So we a joke about the cousin. Anyways. And now we go to the step that we've been anticipating. Factorize, generally a highest common factor, sometimes dots, but most of the time it's highest common factor. So we're going to factorize the highest common factor out here. Can you note that we have 2 to the power of 2n times 2 to the power of n? That's technically going to become 2 to the power of 3n because of law 1 over here. Let me quickly write that for you. 2 to the 3n times 2 to the 2 minus 2 to the 3n, and there's our highest common factor, 2 to the 3n, over 2 to the 2 times 2 to the 0 times 2 to the 3n. Anyways, factorizing there, we're going to take out the highest common factor on the top, which is 2 to the 3n, and what's left? 2 to the 2 minus 1 over 2 to the 2 times 2 to the 0 times 2 to the 3n. Alright, just remember when you do take 2 to the 3n away from 2 to the 3n here, you are left with 1. Please remember that. Alrighty, and simplifying this further, well, what you needed to see was now we've removed the plus and the minus. You see there's a bracket here. meaning we now have multiply and divide. We're back to that. Alright, so 2 to the 3n divided by 2 to the 3n becomes 1. Cool. And now we can solve. Now we've got 2 squared minus 1. So 2 squared minus 1 over 2 squared times 2 to the 0. Just remember, anything to the power of 0 is equals to 2 to the 0 equals 1. So we're just going to write 2 to the 2 there. And that becomes, what's 2 squared? It's 4. Minus 1 over 4, which equals 3 over 4. Done. Alright, so simple as that. Just remember your steps. Alright, now let's get to this bonus question, bonus bonanza. Okay, bonus question. Now, it's very important to read through these and to label what you have. Please take a second, pause this video, draw the two squares with their labels, and then let's go. Okay, so they say here the length of the side of square FETY is 5x minus 4y. Okay, so that has not been written in, which means we need to write it in 5x minus 4y. Then they say to us, alright, the rectangle LOVE has length x plus 2y and breadth x minus 2y. Calculate the area of the shaded region. Alright, so just to help this make sense, let's write these dimensions in. X plus 2y, x minus 2y. And they want area. So let's quickly look. Area of the square would be length squared. And area of the rectangle would be length times breadth. Please go, if you don't know your formulas yet, go and memorize them. Area of a square and area of a rectangle, these are almost always asked, and they're an all-time favorite, especially for teachers. Alright, so anyways, to get the area of the shaded region, that means everything without the rectangle. So we're removing love from the square's life. Shame per square. So what that's going to look like, so area of your shaded region, so area shade would equal the area of your square minus the area of your rectangle. Okay? Which means it's going to become length squared minus length times breadth. And just note, we're working with different lengths here, and we're working with the length of the rectangle and then the length of FE. So if I can write this in a better way, we have FE squared minus LO times EV in brackets. Make sense? Alright, so let's sub that in. What that becomes is 5x minus 4y squared minus x plus 2y brackets brackets x minus 2y. And there we see we are back to an algebraic expression. Alright, I'm going to solve this on a blank slide. And to solve this, we simply go back to the first question. We times these binomials out. So please note, 5x minus 4y squared is a binomial squared, right? 5x minus 4y, ignore that square. Let's just neaten that up. Bracket 5x minus 4y minus x plus 2y, x minus 2y. Alright, now we get to our shortcut method here. Firstly, we have a binomial squared. That's this over here. So yes, you can go and FOIL it out, but there are shortcuts. So the lovely thing about that. So if we have a binomial squared, alright, what you do is you square the first one. So your answer here would be 25 squared. Then you square the last one. So this would become 16y squared. Then you times the two together. Let me change this color. You times them together, which becomes what? What's 5x times minus 4y? It becomes minus 20xy. And then for this middle number, you times it by 2. So I'm going to say that again. First one, squared. Last one, squared. Remember, minus times a minus gives us a plus. And then you times the two together, so 5 times 4, and then you times it by 2, so it becomes minus 40xy. That's how you square a binomial. Binomial squared. There we go. Now this over here is dots. Alright, difference of two squares. If you had to factorize it, you would get difference of two squares. So let's do that. Minus, imagine it was before factorizing it, which means you would have x squared minus 4y squared. Alright, so the way that shortcut looks like it, sorry, I wrote a 2 there. That's supposed to be an x squared. There we go. So what that would look like is you would square the first one, you would square the second one, and put a minus between them. Alright, let's simplify and solve. We have 25x squared minus 40xy plus 16y squared minus x squared plus 4y squared. Do we see any like terms? Well, I've got a y squared and I've got a y squared. And likewise, I've got an x squared and I've got a minus x squared. So let's simplify those and write our final answer out. The area is therefore, what's 25 minus 1? It would be 24x squared. Okay, 40xy is the only thing we have there, so minus 40xy. And now y squared, we have plus 16 plus 4. So we have plus 20y squared. Alright, please stay tuned for part 2 of algebraic expressions. Please like, subscribe, and share, and become part of the Whiteboard family. Bye-bye.